Adeleke Sanusi was born on the 13th of May 1962 in a remote town of Ado Odo in Yewa, Ogun State, Nigeria. His father, late Pa Mukaila Ishola Sanusi, was a police officer, whilst his mother, Madam Sarah, former Sikirat Sanusi, was a trader and ran a very successful catering business. Born into a polygamous home, Adeleke Sanusi is the third child of his father.
I attended so many primary schools, mainly due to the nature of my father's work. Because of all my father's children, I think I was the one that spent the most time with him.
He attended up to 11 primary schools. It was not until he was 6 years old and in primary 4 that he was able to stay and complete the rest of his primary education in one school.
I have looked back for over time, and interestingly, I would have thought that would have made me spend more years in primary education than other children, but somehow it didn't affect me in terms of the number of years I had to spend in the schools. I was still able to, but I still did my primary school education within the 6 years at that time. Somehow I was able to get into a new school and settle down much quickly, and just kept going. I did not have to repeat any class at any point in time, and also maybe because by the time I got to primary 4, things became a bit more stable, because I could now do primary 4 to primary 6 in one school.
On completion of his primary education, Leke spent a year at St. Mark's Modern School, Osogbo, and later enrolled at Lakunle Comprehensive High School, where he completed his secondary education.
My best subject, obviously, was English literature, history, the arts generally. I was top of my classes in the arts subjects. I love biology. I love agricultural science. I wasn't good in mathematics. I didn't like chemistry, even though I had to do it. But I loved the art subjects. I did a lot of extracurricular activities. I was in the boys' brigade of the school. Was in drama. We did as boys' brigade. In the boys' brigade club, we did a lot of drama. We were also involved in drama. So I was in drama society. I became the editorial prefect of the school. I was editor of the school magazine, and I was also named the orator, the school orator. That was one prefectship that was created while I was there, and after I left, I don't think it was repeated. So I was officially tagged the school orator as well as the editorial prefect of the school. When I finished secondary school, I had wanted to go straight to university. I knew what I wanted to do before I left secondary school. I was going to study law. My principal too knew it. I remember clearly there was a time when Oyo State Radio, yes, they came to our school, interviewed the school principal, and of course as the school orator I was asked to come and speak on behalf of the students, so I spoke. And I remember the journalists that came from Oyo Radio, they did offer me a job. They said if I would love to work with Oyo Radio after leaving the secondary school, that I was most welcome. And I remember clearly my principal told them straight away that no, he will be going to the university and he's going to study law. So I knew what I wanted to do, and I was preparing myself very hard. I did JAMB that year when I finished secondary school. But unfortunately, for some reason, whatever happens to registration that year, my registration wasn't properly done, not my fault, administrative crisis and Some of us were tagged irregular candidates, so I sat for the JAMB exam. But I believe strongly that because of the irregularities, they probably didn't find my name in the computer and the names of some of those who sat for the exam. So I didn't actually get any result from that exam. It was a very devastating experience.
Despite this, he still continued in his academic ventures. In 1979, he enrolled at the Ogun State Polytechnic in Abeokuta and studied advanced level subjects up until 1980.
I can safely say that I enjoyed every aspect of my legal studies at the University of Ife, and I didn't find any of the courses challenging. I thoroughly enjoyed the courses, and that's in terms of academics. And then, of course, every student will need time to study, and most students will want to do a lot of other things other than studying, and I did quite a lot of that as well. I was strongly involved in student politics, but somehow, as the Lord will have it, it wasn't my extracurricular activities or strong involvement in student politics was not detrimental to my academic concentration or performance.
In 1981, he retook his JAMB test and gained admission to the University of Ife to read law. On completing his law degree, he went to law school in Lagos and was called to bar in 1986. He completed his National Youth Service Corps and found favour during the period of his service. He eventually finished and went on to pursue the career. In 1990, he met his wife, Bolanle.
My parents normally take us to our hometown for Christmas, and that Christmas I went to my cousin's house and he was there. He apparently came to spend Christmas with them. So I went with my friend. When we got there, there were loads of people in the house, and my friend said, "Oh, that's Lekki Sanusi over there." And I'm like, "Who is Lekki Sanusi?" And she was saying, "Oh, don't you know Lekki Sanusi?" I said, "No, I've never heard that name before." So she said, "Okay, let me introduce you." So she introduced me to him and we got talking. When I saw him, I looked at what he was wearing and I said, "What's he wearing? Why is he wearing this kind of clothes?" I didn't like what he was wearing at all. So when my friend said, "Let me introduce you to him," I said, "No." She said, "Why?" I said, "I don't like what he's wearing." But later that night, we got introduced and we started talking from there. But then, even though I was still looking at what he was wearing, I didn't really like it. We met after that. We met a couple of times. He came to visit me in the university. He'd already finished from Ife then, but I was still there. He came to visit me. And from then, I could see that he's not a very bad person. He's nice, caring, very intelligent. So I just said, well, why not?
They got married on the 21st of December 1991 in Obokun, near Ilesha in Osun State. Year after year, and there was still no sign of any children. They began to seek for help, but the help they so desperately sought after never came. They decided to move to London to seek better medical help in their search for a child.
The woman, I was more concerned and more bothered than him. To him, it didn't really matter. I mean, he just went about doing his own business, he just went about doing what he normally does. You never see it in him, he never showed on his face, he never said anything about it. Sometimes I even thought to myself that, doesn't he want children? Is he not bothered? Because, I mean, you will never see it in him. And he encouraged me a lot, including my mother-in-law as well, and my parents. They all encouraged me that, don't worry, it will still happen.
Shortly after their arrival to the UK, they began a house fellowship on assignment from their parish in Nigeria. It grew rapidly, and soon after they moved to a hall in Deptford, southeast London.
I knew about the ministry because Pastor Brown was our pastor then. He'd already told us that when we get to London, he would like us to start a house fellowship. I wasn't very comfortable with it, but my husband being the, very enthusiastic person, he was, he was really into it. So when we got to London, and it was like the thing was going to be a reality. Sometimes he would say, is going to look for a property to start the church, and honestly, because I didn't really buy the idea, it was like I was praying in me that he won't get the property. So whatever he wanted to do that would make the parish to start, it was like within me I was praying that it wouldn't happen. But you see, God has his plans for all of us, because I was really scared that ministry, to be a pastor's wife, how am I going to cope? So I was like, I was having negative thoughts that it wouldn't happen, he'll be disappointed when he gets to the landlord. I will say that God, let the landlord say no, there's no property. When he wants to rent chairs, I will pray that, oh God, don't let him get chairs. I was just so negative about it, even though he didn't know. I didn't tell him, and I don't think I've ever told him, and I'm sure that I'll be hearing this for the first time, that so I was praying against everything that he was doing. But because God had a hand in it, I mean, it moved forward, and I thank God.
After just 3 years in the ministry, the Lord answered the heart's cries of the Sanusis. In May 1999, their first son, Toby, was born. This testimony birthed Pastor Leke's best-selling book, None Shall Be Barren.
At home is a wonderful husband, loving father. He likes us watching films together. That's me and him in the bedroom up there. Just both of us, the children doing their own, or maybe the children go to bed. Just both of us were in the bedroom. We watch films, nice films, not bad films, like war films and all of that, even though most of the time I don't enjoy them, but I just have to. So he's a very nice person at home. He's very caring. Sometimes when he's at home, like when he's doing Bible study with the children, sometimes I have to remind him that, look, you're not in church, these are your children, because he uses some big spiritual languages that the children are looking at me and wondering, what's he talking about? So sometimes I have to remind him that this is another congregation. Come down to our level. We're not in church anymore. But at home is a very homely man.
Well, I like about my dad, like he's always there for me, he's giving, he's kind, respectful, never gives up on me.
I like about my father because people that I know, their parents bail on them. Their parents doesn't show care like my dad does. My dad buys me clothes, my dad listens to me, my dad helps me anytime I need help.
He's a wonderful father. I mean, the children can come to him, they can ask any question, they can say anything. Even there's some things my children would ask me, and I'm like, when I don't give them an answer, they're off to their dad to ask their dad, and I'm just thinking that, oh, don't go and ask your dad that kind of question, we shout at you. But because they're so close to him, it's so easy going with them. They can ask him anything. Things that I think that, oh, don't go and ask daddy. Daddy's going to shout. This is not the right time. Daddy's not in the mood.
You see him at church, he's like serious, really serious. Like you see him like hardworking. But when he's at home, like we have fun. We watch football, play football. We go to the park, go to places, have fun in theme parks. Yeah.
The most important thing is that they're free with their dad, and he's very free with them. It makes them come to him anytime. They can discuss anything with him. It takes them to the cinema. They watch films together. He goes with them to watch their kind of film, these animated films, even though when my husband gets there, he falls asleep immediately, but at least he follows them, and they like it.
Over the years, Victory House has grown into a church with reputable honour, with its core deep-rooted in prayer.
My name is Michelle King-Crontain. I'm the chairwoman of Comus House Tenants and Residents Association within this community. Since the church has been established here, we have become more of a family. The church itself has put so much into the community, which we are so very grateful about, and we know that that is because of the pastor which you have. The people here, they're coming together in unity. Every time we see the church giving back something to the community, Christmas hampers, you're there at the fun days, participating in barbecues and so forth. It's been an honour and a privilege to work with you.
An accomplished leader, a writer, an orator, and more importantly, a prayer warrior who is passionate about seeing the afflicted set free through his powerful prayers. He has preached all over the world, and he is being acclaimed as a world-renowned preacher of our time.
Because he's 50 now, the joy of the Lord is his strength, but I would just advise him to, if he can, slow down a little bit, just a little bit, because I know he loves his job, he enjoys it, he loves ministering to the people, talking to the people, but I would just advise that just a little bit, if he can just slow down. He travels a lot. By the time he comes back, he's so tired. He comes back, he goes to another administration. He can do so many. He can do 2-3 ministrations in one day, 5 ministrations in 1 week, and at the end of the week, he's tired. I'm the one that has to keep, petting him and pampering him and putting love on his back and giving him lemon and honey to drink, but I'll just advise him that, 50, he needs to slow down a little bit.
If being fulfilled means, am I happy with what I'm doing and am I enjoying what I'm doing? The answer is yes. If being fulfilled means, have I reached my goal? Am I at my peak? The answer is absolutely no. There is still a lot of territories to conquer.